Hello, my name is Mark with GovDirections, and here today at GovSchool to talk about SAM.gov, the System for Award Management. And this is a series that we're discussing with you about finding opportunities through GovDirections.com. GovSchool is a service of ours. We launched our system in July of 1998, starting our 28th year, and with the basic belief, that we can take opportunities to the overall market space, regardless of the size of the business, putting the information in front of you, giving you the opportunity to win. This is lesson 1 of 4 about finding the right opportunities that's available to you. I encourage you to join us live for the remaining part of July. This will be online later on for you, of course. So you may be watching this just a little bit later as we walk through a number of different services and systems that we think are helpful for you to expand your government contracting marketplace. Today, searching SAM.gov like a pro. Just as a quick note, every day, it says here about 3,000 to 5,000 new federal notices are posted daily. That includes not only SAM, but also other federal sources where you learn about new information and new bids on a daily basis. But a large, significant marketplace, some $700 billion in federal contract spending per year. We have over 45,000 active bids at just about any given time of the day at GovDirections.com. And that includes local, state, and federal. And we track some 88,000 agencies. By far, most of those are state and local agencies, but all federal agencies in the hierarchy. And we publish every federal bid, federal listing at no charge to our members. And it's all the way down to the office level to provide access to you in your neighborhood. My name, Mark Knowles. I'm going to give this presentation today. I advise companies and leadership teams on how to build disciplined, scalable success in government contracts. I work with clients. I've been doing this almost all my entire career. I've been now 30 plus years working with agencies. In some way, what I like to do is try to translate the government contracting space to, an everyday business situation. I specialize in small businesses and helping them really expand in this space. I've read more local budgets, I think, than just about anyone on the planet. In fact, right before this session here, I was reading Whitefish, I think it's Whitefish, Montana. And I enjoy reading them, see what's going on. This space is not, is in the public realm, freely available to you. You really got to take the time to really understand where your marketplace is at. And so I enjoy reading that information and bringing it to you in the marketplace area. Because we really do believe, it's important to find the government contract before your competition. It's really not just a slogan. It has to be your strategy. You got to learn about these projects early on in order to really be competitive in your approach. It allows you to practice, more traditional business development. If you see what's going on in the community, luckily everything's talked about in the public agora, public space, and you can see Agora by GovDirections, which we launched today to help you learn about these contract opportunities as quickly as possible. But check this out on LinkedIn. We use GovDirections as my handle, and you can learn more about us. I would just point out that you also saw there that I've actually bid and won over 400 public contracts in 34 states. And so I've been an active participant in the contracting space, not just a provider and aggregator of the information. 4 skills that turn SAM.gov into your daily opportunity pipeline. I would point out that all of SAM is at GovDirections, and we have an API that basically hits it provides information routinely throughout the day, information that is assigned to your account by NAICS code, North American Industry Classification System, as well as the product service codes, PSC, set aside. We have a new set aside alert and agency filters. Navigating the system itself is not sometimes the easiest thing to do, but you can learn, and it's changed recently. I've been around. I first started watching FBO.gov when I think I watched this movie. I think it was called War Dogs, but basically tracking what's happening and then providing ammunition and products to the Defense Department. And I started watching SAM.gov early on. A bunch of that data we used to pull it every morning when it came out. It'd come out at right about midnight. We pull that down, and even now we're popping that all throughout the day because there's so much opportunity that exists for businesses. And it's a great spot to start. But I always do point out that local and state really is where most of us begin. So don't go in there thinking you'll win that first $1 billion contract up front. You need to get some experience. Saving searches, setting up automatic email alerts. I'll talk about that. Reading a SAM.gov notice. What to check in the first 60 seconds whenever you see that notice each morning. And using award data to identify competition and price benchmarks. One good thing about the federal government, that information is available to you at no charge. You can go there, either SAM.gov or you can go to USAspending.com. The other places, .gov, I forget if it's .com or .gov, but you can go check out USA Spending, and you can see information there for you to track what's happening in this space. I would just point out, why SAM.gov should be one of your starting points. Because first of all, registering there is important. It's not a bidding platform; it's an accounts payable management platform, but an information platform as well. And so you need to go there and get your UEI, unique entity ID, and your cage code. And I'll talk about that as we go along here today. But there's constant notices coming through there, just about every day. On average, about 3,000 of those. I mentioned that. It might be just a little bit lower this time of year, but it goes back and forth, different at points around basically the flowing of money and budget. We've been through a lot of shutdowns recently, and that kind of disrupted things. But you can go in there and see a steady flow of opportunities for your business. It's free to browse. And I think we're all, we kind of get tired of these pesky third-party portals that gather information from a government who uses them and then makes you pay them to get access to it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. GovDirections has a different model, and we have always been an aggregator of information, but we don't work with governments, and we don't make them or provide, we allow them to publish. And when they publish in our Agora marketplace, it actually is free to use, free to anybody who wants to use it. So we think that should be the standard bearer of government contracting in this space. Information that is gathered by a team of sophisticated, trained researchers. We have a team of about 20 individuals. That's all they do for you. And we're pulling from budgets and agendas and all kinds of places where you can learn about a bit. Over 88,000 agencies. And it's important that you are aware of that so that you can, and there's a value to that. So you're basically extending your research staff to include that team. It's for, it also covers pre-solicitation notices, as well as the active RFPs and RFQs, and also awards. The pre-solicitation notices lets you know things are coming so you can get prepared. And then awards lets you know who's winning. And then, of course, that active marketplace, the RFPs, special proposal, requests for qualifications, sometimes referred to as source of salt, requests for information, solicitations, combined synopsis, solicitations, and other terms that you'll learn as you go along. But don't let that all overwhelm you. They're all essentially solicitations. They're actively seeking you to participate in that market. And it's one portal for everyone, all civilian and defense agency opportunities above a certain dollar level. I think the threshold now is about 25,000, depending on when you're watching this video later on. It might be a little more because it's been expanding. When you get there, you want to go to SAM.gov, of course, on the internet, and you'll see contract opportunities and then search. The search bar at the top, you can enter any kind of keyword. Frequently I go in there and I look for a client who sells tree removal, and I'll search tree removal. It shows me the contracts. The solicitation number, I can also search by an agency name. Whenever you actually filter it, you're going to see a date, notice type. You're going to see a lot of information potentially is expired. So you may want to go over to the left-hand side and drop down a little bit and choose only active information for your review. But it also will show you set-asides and other opportunities you actually filter on the left panel. Results default to active notices only, but you can broaden that to include those past expired documents. Okay, so I have mine set up so I see all documents. And then it's sorted by the post date, the newest first. So the last one that's been issued is always shown there, and that's important that you realize that. So it's the fresh ones. And so the next day when you come, you do have to drop down. Now, in the GovDirections system, we have a little bit, I think, more user-friendly, especially to those of us who are not particularly with the experience that's necessary to really maneuver through the SAM system. We have it make it a little bit easier, and you're doing a lot of point and click. I found that to be the easiest way of teaching folks how to actually go through it. And you can actually, once you get your NAICS code assigned to you or you've chosen, and you have the total small business certification, which basically comes almost immediately. Other certifications come along, but you can go into our system at GovDirections and just tap that particular NAICS code and the actual set aside area just to see those ones that are the best for you to pursue. The keyword search strategy is probably the best way to search within the not only GovDirections.com, but also the SAM.gov system, as well as DIBS. We'll talk about that on another session, but use industry-specific language, not generic terms, and then you'll find a better result from that information. Broad keywords return thousands of results sometimes, so refine those, and be specific about your industries as you do that. Specific phrases will target your niche just a little bit better. You'll see there penetration testing, federal network, tree removal in Texas, things like that. Okay, use quotes, quotation marks. The traditional way we search a database for exact phrase matching, and that's an important way to do that. That way, if you go in there, you want penetration testing, federal network, it needs to be quotes. Otherwise, you'll get every bid with the word penetration testing, federal network. So you'll get a lot more than really what you want. And so it's not effective in your actual search. Also try 3 to 4 keyword variations, and you can store those and search. Also, I do this too. Search by your competitors' names to find their wins. That's a good way to really understand where the competition's at and how much they're bidding on a project. And nowadays with AI tools, we can drop in the original bid and the amount that was awarded, and AI will help us understand where the breakdown was at. You don't know how to do that. I have a class specifically on that. I encourage you to sit on it because you're missing the boat if you're not doing that. NAICS filter, the North American Industry Classification System. Of course, NAICS codes are managed by the census, census.gov/NAICS.gov. Always work with government, look at .gov. If you look at .com, then you end up with a company like ours. We're working for you, but we're not affiliated with government. And if you go to, for example, NAICS.com, you essentially ended up on a system. They try to charge you to get a NAICS code, and it's kind of silly. Yes, me. But census.gov/NAICS. I've never been a fan of systems that sort of try to potentially make you think they're with the government or not. So it's important that you be careful in this market space as well. But the NAICS filter will enter in specific codes, and you will see only those relevant opportunities to your organization. Just know that the NAICS code that's chosen for a bid is oftentimes chosen by the contracting officer who has a number of them to choose from. And so you want to make sure you choose more than one NAICS code if you're watching. The PSC filter adds product service codes. So if you're selling widgets, focus on that. But mainly for the DoD, Department of Defense. So you want to understand where your PSC codes lie and how to use them appropriately. Set asides, really big business, 23% mandated. And so you really want to understand which set aside you should be filtering. Most of us get the small business. But there are other very profitable ones to use, and you can pursue them. Now, I would never wait on those set asides or certification to pursue opportunity, but when you grow in your business, it actually does make sense to try to seek those out. But waiting for a set aside designation to potentially put you out of business, you're waiting too long. And so there's so many more opportunities that exist that you will probably want to make sure that you don't do that, but you do seek the advantages when you can. Always combine the NAICS code and the set aside. That actually is a good way to really increase your business pipeline. And we do that at GovDirections. So every single NAICS code is assigned, and we show you how many set asides are there for that, and you tap onto it, and then you can actually see the set asides, and so that you can go after those. They're only reserved for small businesses by themselves. And then add the agency filter. Working with an agency, focus your target, and you'll have more success with that. Now, I do hear from clients routinely who fall for getting lists of contracting officers, not an effective way to really begin your exploration of the marketplace. Those contracting officers are bombarded with these emails, and they really don't need that, and it's sometimes going to look unfavorably towards you. And so only approach agents that are in your market space that would potentially don't use those mass email lists. Filtering by agency and geography, the agency filters narrow to specific departments or contracting offices. The bids in the GovDirections system go down all the way to the contracting officer level, and we give you a geospatial view of that so you can know where your bid needs to be sent. And just remember that SAM is not a bidding platform. You don't bid on it. You're bidding in different methods of SAM is an information platform and basically an award management process. Place of performance. You can filter not only just by the state of that the office is at, but where the actual work's being done at. So a lot of times, I'm based here in Atlanta, and there's Atlanta offices that serve Mississippi, Georgia, and Alabama and South Carolina. And so the work's in South Carolina, but the office is Atlanta. And so you want to make sure you look at the place of performance whenever you're doing that. Also, watch for buy-in patterns. I mean, you can track them and understand that the governments they're not so innovative. They don't even value, I don't think sometimes they really value rules and standard and practice. And that's important to understand. It's a highly regulated environment and using FAR, Federal Acquisition Regulations, to govern that. So they stay on a pattern. And so understand what that pattern is. Award ceiling filters match content size to your business capacity. Okay. So you don't want to get an award that's going to be too big for you. I've had some clients who get that and then they can't service it. And that's not a good place to be. And so when I just refresh back to the combining geography with your NAICS code, and you will find good business for you to actually go out and pursue. Don't just pursue everything. Pursue the ones that make sense. Save your searches. You're getting email alerts from them. Now, I'll tell you that there's no one who can touch the GovDirections alerts. We have now delivered over 1 billion alerts for our clients who serve in some 72 countries, in fact. And so we do a really good job, and we have really good accolades in how it's delivered to you to the office level. But at login.gov, you can be alerted to bids by creating this free. And I would point out GovDirections Store is completely free, but you can also do that at login.gov, and then you'll be notified whenever a bid potentially matches you. It can be a little bit unreliable, so don't rely on that as the only one that you use. Okay, I'll just point that out. And for goodness sakes, you really do not have to pay for alerting systems, so don't fall for that. There are systems that are out there that want you to pay for basically, basically a link to bids that are issued each day. It doesn't really make any sense to receive that and pay for that anymore. It's out there in just about every community, and you can register for free in just about each state at the federal level, and then services like GovDirections. We do a really fine job of that. Name your searches though in the system. Set the frequency. It's basically a computer design operation. So a cron set for a cron job to make sure that works for you. And then build a portfolio of 3 to 5 safe searches, one per market segment per NAICS code. And you also find this feature at GovDirections where you can actually save searches on our screen, and then you can tap onto it in a given time. And then review. And I would just point out that the GovDirections searches also include local state, whereas the SAM has nothing to do with local state government or authorities, or really a significant part of the marketplace. Probably some 20-to-1 contract opportunities at the state and local level, for every one federal, whenever you get outside the defense spending area. And review and refine that monthly, and then drop the ones that produce a lot of noise and you don't have leads. The same with GovDirections. Make sure it's relevant to your searches. Using award data, that one of the best uses of SAM.gov is the research for awards. Understand where they're at. You can click on the awards tab, separate from the opportunities, and then you can search the past awards and see who the incumbents are and how much they wanted at. And then you can actually, with enough of that, you can get a realistic idea of where the market is today. And that's not too complicated. It takes a little bit of work. We actually do those special reports for you. If you have an interest, you reach out to us. And we're at 800-492-8523, but you can see it on our website as well, 800-492-8523 at GovDirections.com. Okay. Find contracting officers who are regularly buying in your category. Those are the ones you might want to meet at an industry day. You want to get your capability statement. You don't have one, you need one. You can come to our site and we show you how to build one. Not everything in GovDirections is pay. It's also, we teach first and we offer technical advice second. So you learn to do it yourself. And if not, you don't have, everybody's busy. You can actually hire an advisor to help you. Track the award history. It's important that you do that. I know exactly where my market's at when I'm bidding. I try to bid at the 75th percentile. in order to, in that quartile, in order to really produce the most profit margin. And I only go out after contracts I really think I have an opportunity to win. And so that's done through what I call indicators of success. And you'll see that something I teach on our website, a form for you to complete that and learn about that and use that in AI to help you analyze bids. I've been doing this for some 30 years, practicing that process. AI just makes it a heck of a lot easier, and you can do a lot more of those. Today, I hope that you understand from this class that we're going to have some more coming up. So make sure you join us or scroll down. You'll see them available to you at a later time. But SAM.gov is free. It's a free platform. I hear from so many people saying, I just paid $3,000 to get access to SAM.gov. And I can't find this person who I paid. Don't let that happen to you. It's not something you need to do. It's a public site. It's updated daily, actually by the minute, by the second, even. Make it a daily habit, go into it. Or, use our pipeline ourselves. We pull that data, we make it freely available to you. SAM is completely free at our site. Our value in aggregation is the state and local government sector. SAM is we have an API, so we just pass that along to you. Stack your NAICS and set aside agency filters. You can do that at GovDirections too, to build a targeted pipeline. That's the best, most effective way to learn. I hope that's actually of all the takeaways today, that is the number one. Save your searches. Not the easiest thing to do. It's really point and click at GovDirections, so try to maybe use that. Award data tells you who won at what price, who bought it. Well, I mean, don't you wish you had that kind of knowledge in private business? It's there, take it, use it. It's important that you do that. Next steps from here. If you're watching the recorded version, you'll just step down to the next one. And I encourage you to learn. It's always better to go into to a winning situation with the government by having knowledge. And if you do need us in assistance, give us a call. You can reach right at the top of there and do contact us on our page, or leave a note here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe too, by the way, on YouTube. It'll help you be aware we do these routinely, so you can be notified of them. So go out there and just set up one safe search with NAICS Small Business in SAM, so you understand how it is, and then go to GovDirections and see how much easier it is. GovDirections.com. And start learning the hierarchy and the offices, and see which 2 or 3 really make sense for you to work with. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about state and local government. Today, if you were here, it's June 30th. Tomorrow is July 1st, the first day of a new fiscal year at the state and local government level. So I want to focus in on that. And it happens to be our 28th anniversary. And we're so glad that you were able to put your trust in us to be able to survive 28 years in government contracting space. We are so thankful. We really enjoy serving our customers and our clients, and we appreciate it every day that you give us the opportunity to serve you. And GovSchool, the chat will be open after class. You just tap down there and have a great day. We really appreciate you.